Well, friends, I would invite you to stay a while and listen, because Deckard Cain's doing pretty good here in North America Day 1. But if No Tomorrow can't figure out how to take a game off of ENDEMIC, we won't be staying much longer tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like they're missing the mark a little bit. And it's one of those things, you can't be afraid to bully the front line. If your entire goal is to dive the back line and get there and you don't get the kill, you probably don't make it out against the Deckard. And that seems to be the theme that we've seen twice now in these first two games. We saw last pick Deckard, we saw first pick Deckard. Now mid pick Deckard?
Perhaps. Let's see what the battleground is. We had Sky Temple, we had Towers of Doom, and now we're going to Infernal Shrines.
I had a feeling for No Tomorrow. This was Towers of Doom, Infernal Shrines was theirs, and you know, whenever they wanted to get aggressive, this was one, because you know you can fight in an area. The one thing that I think does work out well here, the same way we saw Maiev in game number 1, Maiev I think does very well on this battleground as well. So there's a lot of potential, I think, for another Maiev pick here, but the compositions that we've seen from No Tomorrow, it seems like they get 4/5 of it, and then one part doesn't quite fit, and they're trying to figure it out, and it hasn't quite been there. So I'm looking forward to seeing where their draft lies, but as well as ENDEMIC, I've been impressed with the flexibility that they've shown in their 2 games so far.
Yeah, especially with so many role changes for them. It's evident that they put the work in to make this roster a success. High Sonya priority from No Tomorrow in game 1. I think we can likely see her be higher up in the draft on this too, because of how much control she has over the shrines. Any other heroes? Maiev, Sonya?
This is one of the ones where Tassadar doesn't necessarily need a reason to be there. I mean, obviously he helps out a lot of other heroes, but if you wanted to go Tassadar Phoenix, you enable the Phoenix, you do quite a bit of damage, and you also contribute a lot to the objective. It's one of those heroes that kind of shows up from time to time, but Sonya obviously falls in there. But we've seen a lot of Johanna. Johanna has definitely shown well today, and I think that this is another opportunity for Johanna to shine.
You know who we haven't seen much of, and that is Yrel. Now, this is before some of the buffs that have come in first, and numbers tweaks, but do you expect to see any Yrel this weekend?
I think she's not allowed this weekend, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're on the Yrel patch. Yeah, I think that she's not allowed. I'm pretty sure that's the case. So next weekend, though, and it is, I think, with the buffs.
With the buffs.
And I think we will be seeing some Yrel.
I saw a tweet from you that you were like, oh, this might be pretty good.
I'm scared. I think they might have overbuffed her.
Oh, man, I was playing her, and those number changes feel good. Like the 2-second reduction on her trait. Oh, it feels pretty good.
The trait value that you actually get out of that, getting that instant charge up on any number of abilities you want to use.
Yes, in the level 4, the Righteous Momentum change too, with the movement speed feels so good too. 35 armor instead of 25. Oh, that's a level 7. Level 4 is the armor.
Level 4 is the armor.
Yeah, and it's also 35
armor. Talking
armor.
about the 7 removal of movement speed with the bonus, movement speed. Yeah, that change alone. Although I've been poking and prodding, there are some different mindsets in terms of proper build, but we'll find out probably next week as we get into the draft here. Tracer banned by ENDEMIC, No Tomorrow banned Malfurion, and you mentioned the Sonya, Gilly. First pick. From
ENDEMIC too. But they saw how highly prioritized she was from No Tomorrow in game 1, so that might be the case too. But for Kier, this should be a big comfort pick. Tyrael again from No Tomorrow. Is it the Blaze? Yes, it is. Tyrael Blaze. This, it feels a bit dated, but we'll see what adjustments are made if we see the Vala again from No Tomorrow.
If you prioritize Vala over a Phoenix on this map, I don't know about that. Phoenix on this, again, because of his AoE splash damage, does do really well on this. Can definitely have a lot of control over this battleground. For ENDEMIC, a Johanna pickup in this situation right here, I'd be more than okay with, and they've picked Deckard quite a bit. Do you feel that you're going to get Deckard post-second ban after what we've seen the first 2 games? So priorities, I think, right now are going to be the question mark on ENDEMIC, and I feel the flexibility that they have, it doesn't really matter what they want to do.
I think we could see the Deckard here. I think if we do, it seems more so for Michael Udall a comfort with how how well it went after game 1. We saw that moved up. Ooh, though that's a pretty early Alex. Alex is exploitable on how her heals work, but gives so much shrine control.
Alex, I would say, is generally more of a niche pick,
Mm-hmm.
and one that I mean, this tells me that Udall's been putting in work, because this is not something outside of what we saw from K1 Pro, which we were reminiscing on back in week number 1 early this year. It's not something you just pick up right away and say, this is what I'm rolling with, because there are other safer options with different, because this requires team coordination and it requires individual mechanics. And I think we're going to get our first look at that. But Johanna ban here, you wonder, could that Alex Straza have been the Johanna? But maybe they were afraid of giving Alex Straza up, because when Tomster was supporting, No Tomorrow ran it quite a bit on this battleground.
I wonder if ENDEMIC will play more into the support choke that No Tomorrow is pseudo put themselves in, although the mid-season brawl, a lot of second ban teams were willing to ban the Malfurion and not necessarily pick it up, because it's Malfurion and then everybody else support-wise. But they do play into that. They pick up that Alex Straza and then ban the Deckard Cain themselves. So we'll see what Akaface wants to play, but Akaface has been playing, Akaface has been playing supports for so long. It's less of a matter of comfort and just more so what is objectively strong that we're going to deny from him.
Well, you mentioned when Alex Straza puts her heel down, especially, you know, big green circle on the ground, you can cover it with a big purple circle of your own. Makes it a little bit easier. It also does really well against Sonya. Interrupting Whirlwind does very good to make sure. That's one of Sonya's best strengths on this battleground, healing up, sustaining on that. And I think it can cancel out quite a bit. So Stukov seems like a likely option. You don't have a lot of... Even Phoenix, yeah. You don't have a lot of options to follow up CC on. Blaze is basically your hard CC right now. Tyrael doesn't have any. So it is one of those things that, do you have enough options to play around?
Zarya, ready for duty.
Okie dokie. Vala with a little bit more protection this go around. Not Tassadar, but Zarya.
Are you ready to feel the heat?
Am I?
I don't know. There's some heat on the other side. There's a dragon.
So one of the things, so Zarya does really well when there's predictable damage. Phoenix, when he has the big AoE splash, that's a slow auto attack. It is AoE, but it's slow. Zarya does not do well with slow sustained damage to build her energy up from her shields. The laser even coming out, you can shield another person, but you're probably getting 1, maybe 2 passes on that. You're not getting as much value. Unless some type of burst damage here, like a Jaina or something comes in, I don't see Zarya amping up in terms of getting that damage done, unless you're willing to concede taking some damage from Sonya simultaneously as something else. It feels like Zarya is more protection-oriented and less offensive-oriented. And with a Vala, I feel like a Tassadar switch there would be very different.
Well, Hanzo and ETC are the final 2 picks for Dansky or Biggie, and then B-Kid and Lucio is back. No Tomorrow is playing to their own meta, that is for sure. How do you like it on Infernal Shrines versus Towers of Doom?
Honest answer, I'm not a big fan.
Okay.
The Zarya, again, getting energy is at a premium, I think, against this composition. That's the Hanzo pick, I think, is very good on the side of ENDEMIC. We've seen ever since the switch to scatter at 1, explosive at 4, scatter at 7, Hanzo's win rate has gone way, way up on this battleground to play around that. There was a lot of play around what was the proper build. And I don't think that plays into Zarya. I think that, you know, you might be able to zone out, but I don't think you're going to get the energy that you expect in these situations to get value out of Zarya. Tassadar makes a lot more sense, especially with a Vala. You're protecting damage, but you're not contributing anything to Vala other than potential burst, which at this point you're probably just going to trade out to a loss anyways on the objective.
There are a lot of things that can stop ENDEMIC from being able to utilize the Circle of Life, the Abundance healing from Alex Straza. I'm thinking of Holy Ground post 13, Expulsion Zones, right? Those are both pre or post 10. Reign of Vengeance 2, Boops from Akaface. There was one more I was looking at.
But
oh, Jet Propulsion. Jet Propulsion's the big deal. Is that it's a target?
Though?
I know.
Like we saw Vala last game very far forward, and it did not pay off the way that they anticipated. I think we saw Strafe last game. I feel this has to be a Reign of Vengeance game, especially this time. So maybe that gives you a little bit more control, a little bit more burst to follow up on.
Well, it's the triple tank composition of No Tomorrow versus Michael Udall's Alex Straza and the rest of ENDEMIC. Let's see how it works. Dansky is going to be playing the Hanzo, so we have Big Impact playing the Phoenix this go around.
Yeah, you know, this endemic roster, I'm not gonna lie, I had questions. I know how it fits. Functionally, I see how it fits, but I wasn't sure how it would look. And so far, everything that I've seen looks really good. So we'll see how that plays out. And you mentioned feel the heat. Zarya definitely going that. I feel that's 100% necessary, especially against this composition with the Sonya up there. So.
Speaking of Sonya, no tough as nails, which versus the very fast auto attack stylings of both Zarya and Lucio. We're going to see the Furious Blow, which is every 4th cast of Seismic Slam, dealing 50% more damage. Don't know if we'll go more into that, but being able to do more damage to the primary target there and costing less Fury should be able to up the damage output of ENDEMIC quite a bit.
Was it BlizzCon or Mid-Season Brawl, or maybe it was one of the clashes? Jay Shrite rocked out that pink hair. Do you remember that?
That was the Mid-Season Brawl last year.
Yeah, he rocked the pink hair. He's got guns. Zarya's got guns.
He played Zarya.
Yeah, he did.
That series, that tournament too.
Yeah, so it's not a surprise that he's on the Zarya here. Definitely something. He's done a really good job moving into turrets, especially since the turrets have been buffed. The more damage you absorb with your shields, the more energy you get. It's a little bit more easy to do against the structures, but it's when the shrine comes on when you get that same amount of value.
Well, with that, he's been able to get the jump on the wave clear with his team and the rest, and the Vala too. That lets them get their Khazra slightly before ENDEMIC, and they're going to see if they can invade this. Jhin.
But Shrite pops his shield on over there. Gets a very nice boot, but Casanova again on that Vala is very susceptible and unable to get out alive. I mean, that is one of the toughest things. Vala's health pool, one of the smallest in the game.
It was a nice rotation for ENDEMIC too. They brought Sonya down. Also meant that No Tomorrow brought Blaze down, but now keeping Sonya there in the mid to enable the Khazra there while the rest of ENDEMIC put some counter siege on toward No Tomorrow and start to do some damage to those towers. You know, we have talked a lot today about the tower, how effective it'll be to focus on early walls, but I think it's really important to remember that when you're looking at towers, especially in this lane where the first shrine is going to be, the more you can take down to that front wall, the better you can do at trying to start sieging down the fort with the Punisher.
Yeah, definitely a lot more advantageous. Yeah, I mentioned Explosive Arrow seemed to have been the go-to for quite some time now on this battleground. Instead, we're going full Scatter Arrow at level 4. Have not seen that in quite a while on this battleground, but Dansky's going to try his hand there. Of course, doing that extra damage towards minions, mercs, and the like. Not getting any explosive damage, though.
Yeah, Explosive Arrow doesn't work on mercenaries, and it makes me wonder if ENDEMIC are trying to make sure that they have a ranged damage dealer who can be the consistent merking hero for them, so as they start to get ahead in the macro game, he can rotate around while Sonya is the one in the lanes being the safer hero, that true solo. And we'll see how the Scatter Arrow works here on the Shrine, though, since that Explosive Arrow is so nice, especially at sniping some of the kills away from your opponents.
Well, Blaze and Zarya have split off. It's actually going to force a response out of ENDEMIC and trying to take advantage of that Feel the Heat. But as you can see, the energy there is fairly low. Just picking up some energy there towards the later end of that. Shrite, there's going to be the power slide over Tomster. Shrite has the shield, but nice slow there. And that's going to be enough for Biggie to warp in and get a takedown. But we've got some action down here on the bottom as Sonya's falling.
Yeah, counter kill from the swift retribution of the Tyrael Lucio Vala that obviously No Tomorrow has been concocting during their scrim time. We're looking at 21 versus 23. This is really close, but Michael Udall has the Dragon Queen. Wing Buffett missed. He'll be back pretty soon. They're at 30 and continuing to climb. Tomster now steps in here. No Sonya, but also no Zarya.
B-Kid with the slide over, giving Biggie a little bit of added protection. He's going to warp out, and the Alex Straza, enough to confirm this. It's one of the things that we saw NA do quite a bit of, is use that Alex Straza. You get a little bit of a lead. It's kind of like Ragnaros. You could use Molten Core. Here you can use a Dragon, and makes it quite a bit easier to take those down.
And remember, some damage was done to this front wall, but No Tomorrow, in having Feel the Heat, although we're not seeing any of the energy for Jay Shrita, but still being able to put out some damage there, and especially the Vala. They're being able to clear it out, but not before this fort goes down.
Now, you brought up an excellent point 2 minutes ago about getting that early structure damage on that front line opens up an opportunity like this, and ENDEMIC took that opportunity. So heads up play by them, nice preparation.
And I feel like that's ENDEMIC taking advantage of the composition of No Tomorrow a little bit too, because that Tyrael doesn't really have much peel. There's not a lot of concern there. He's just offering up the shielding, the additional shielding there, and then the Swift Retribution having attack speed for Vala so that she can try to take that down faster. Lucio, we've talked about his drawbacks too, and though nobody died there from No Tomorrow, ENDEMIC felt very comfortable to dive forward and just take the fort if nothing else.
Getting a little bit of a whirlwind value coming in here from Sonya. Getting the cooldown reduction at 4, plus it also removes those slows, which is something that Blaze does provide, and then that life funnel, getting the extra healing. So, different, but I like it for this battleground.
No Poison Spear for the burst from that. That's the difference. We'll see if that transitions into a different level 13, but that increased healing, Sonya is not going to need to worry about Alexstrasza now. Or well, doesn't need to, Alexstrasza have to worry about Sonya.
At 13, you have the option to go more into Whirlwind, where you do bonus damage to low health targets. Curious if we get that. It's not something you see, generally, as level 10 picked up here by ENDEMIC. See what choices they make. Everything pretty standard, but Mosh Pit or Stage Dive is going to be the question.
Boop, Reign of Vengeance. Sanked people out, or Judgment. And Expulsion Zone, there's enough. I would expect Stage Dive, but there's also a lot of choke points and a lot of melee with that triple warrior. Lucio is running around. Lucio does have the extended, if you have the people within the first 50% of his knockback, it knocks them back further, so maybe he can try to keep people off of his team that way.
Heroics now here for No Tomorrow. Reign of Vengeance is the choice. Makes a lot of sense. Different composition requires different tactics. Expulsion Zone, will it be it? I think that this might be the standoff. There's no way.
Wait.
Graviton Surge?
Okay.
Yeah. The Expulsion Zone has so much. It's on such a short cooldown too. If the other Heroic had a shorter cooldown, probably still wouldn't see it, but at least it'd be a little bit more appealing.
And Stage Dive is the end choice for BK. Now, both teams having heroic abilities, trying to gain control of this top lane ahead of the Shrine, activating in 30 seconds. ETC now on the bottom, having that global presence can help them stay in the game, stay in the soaking game a little bit longer until he wants to come in. Biggie dodged.
But Expulsion Zone, that's one way to use it. That's going to help confirm the kill. That was a beautiful sidestep on that Reign of Vengeance. But nice follow-up there, No Tomorrow, and that is a timely kill. That Shrine is now active. They will have to send somebody to the bottom to respond to ETC, I think, eventually. But if I'm No Tomorrow, am I willing? Well, who cares? We got to follow up right now, Gilly.
Sound barrier was excellent from that, but the immediate face melt after the Dragon Zero stage dive was pretty much hands-off keyboard for Azaria, and just like that, ENDEMIC fire back, getting another kill and getting onto the Shrine.
Now, ENDEMIC's opportunity to play around this again. They will have the Dragon Queen available, and that gives them, once they get this mark, if you're No Tomorrow, you can fight into it, but there will be a Dragon facing you. And so they're going to go ahead and concede the point, fall back, and now ENDEMIC, they're going to try and hit 13 before they grab this.
But if you don't force the Dragon Queen to be used, then you get it for the siege, which makes this even more terrifying. No sound barrier for 30 seconds, though Sanctification and Bunker and Expulsion Zone are all around.
This is a great opportunity for ENDEMIC. No Tomorrow desperately trying to soak Zarya just now on the way up. Shrite is going to join the fight. Blaze, we'll see if he hearts back or whether he tries to soak 13. With this Punisher being so healthy, you can use Expulsion Zone to try and buy some time. Sidewall goes down. ENDEMIC might be looking to blow this game wide open and push forward here. They got to bait this over. Jen, he did not get the bait and ended up using that. Will that cost him his life? There's going to be a shield there. No follow-up just yet. Expulsion Zone has several members locked in, Gilly.
Sanctification may be able to save from Purification Salvo. No, it still does quite a lot of damage, but Alexstrasza went down. And the Punisher is falling low. 1, 2, 3. 3 kills for that one Alex Straza. Cure is pulling a Kyocha clear underneath the core, forcing back the rest of No Tomorrow, guaranteeing his team this keep.
I think Akaface might have been trying to get Sound Barrier off or trying to get people out to use that. He did not hop in the bunker, and the Punisher was kind of what left over and helped confirm that. A bit surprising. He didn't make it in there, but it must have been a call to try and use Sound Barrier because that is still not on cooldown. So ENDEMIC, though, they were able to get the keep despite the early success for No Tomorrow. That's a major advantage here.
No Tomorrow are back, but not before Dansky using that scatter arrow build. Stole the Khazra. This is a waiting game for ENDEMIC to get 16 and keep the pressure going. Now with catapults in the top, the next shrine's going to be in the mid. That's a faster, quicker rotation for Blaze to go up and try to keep that lane clear. But it's still something that No Tomorrow will have against them for the rest of the game.
No Tomorrow, this is the one time they'd be willing to fight. And it's 15-13. This is their best opportunity before the next shrine phase because I don't think they're going to be 16. And ENDEMIC, they're rotating, they're getting experience, they're pushing in waves, forcing No Tomorrow. You can't fight because you have to deal with the wave. You can't win on both fronts. And ENDEMIC willing to take their chances still, right around 16. Things looking very good, and No Tomorrow finds himself with a deficit they need to try and overcome again.
Yeah, it seemed like ENDEMIC were almost hanging around seeing if they could bait someone from No Tomorrow to stick around just a little bit too long, but if nothing else, keep this mid lane pushed so that the minute that they hit 16, they can go in and force down this fort. No Tomorrow, though, they're sticking around with a couple of their members while the rest get the Shaman so that they can have some help with this top lane and the catapults there.
There's just not enough experience to go around. I mean, No Tomorrow, are you willing to concede? The one thing that they can do right now is to hold this fort. This fort acts as a buffer for the next Punisher. It'll buy them a little bit of time because that Punisher will have to go through the fort. If they concede this fort, they fall into the same category as last time, to where if you give up too much, all of a sudden this goes directly to keep wall. And ENDEMIC recognizes that. They've cleared up the minions, and they are prioritizing this mid lane. They want to set up the potential. As we see No Tomorrow and team, they're looking to potentially take a fight. But ENDEMIC just too much to overcome.
Dragon's Arrow from the side. Dansky is a master of those. The Expulsion Dome separates out Kier and ETC, but Kier's ready to go back in. And with the Cleansing Flame, healing is just barely staying alive. Now the Whirlwind too. Everyone dives into the bunker trying to deny that, but a lot was used from ENDEMIC there without being able to get a kill 3 levels up. That's not too shabby for No Tomorrow, but No Tomorrow needed the experience. They needed the kills from that.
Let's see, they were looking for it, but ENDEMIC having none of the fact that we see that coordination, you could tell getting the Cleansing Flame, Michael Udall going up, Cure with the trust there to go in because that was a risky position. Once Cure got stunned out of that, was tough, and No Tomorrow, it is desperation time. They have to take this fight, but it is 14-17. Power slide in, Jin aggressing forward, Shrite taking damage, and now Expulsion Zone trying to buy time, but the dive in from ENDEMIC is overpowering them right now.
They had to bunker because of the stage dive, but now Tomster's in an awkward position, and Jin is all but dead. He can't save him. He used Sanctification in the last fight. Cure continuing to just chase down by his lonesome.
Oh
Dragon's Arrow and big impact. Flanking from the side, Purification Salvo will confirm the kill, taking out Tyrael. A second kill. On the front line, only Zarya is left to protect Vala and Lucio. They are definitely out of the shrine.
Things looking good, and Biggie and team, they're peppering down this fort wall, this keep wall I should say, as much as they can, prepping the Punisher, waiting for this Punisher. They're no longer just looking to take a keep here, Gilly. They're going to be looking to try and end the game, and the way that they've been able to get the picks, get the setup, you know, they're still 30 seconds out before their big heroics are back, but Cleansing Flame, if they want to dive, this is going to be their opportunity. There's no pushback yet. They need to kill the minions. There's no Tomorrow to buy any bit of time. And it's up to Jin to get here on the on the Tyrael to try and bait this down to the bottom keep, because this might be their last stand, and ENDEMIC is trying to make sure of it.
Jay, how that Purification Salvo, again, Sound Barrier wasn't used for that, correct?
I believe it might have been missed,
okay.
But
it's unfortunate, but it is a hard one with how long it takes to break it down. Keep down Casanova, nearly so. Cleansing Flame used to keep ENDEMIC healthy as they move on to the core, looking to close this series out 3-0. There's the sound barrier, but it's overlapping with the sanctification, and Tomster has no bunker to retreat to as this purification salvo and the Arsenal synergy take him out, and Zarya too.
Shields down on the core, ENDEMIC just manhandling No Tomorrow here on Infernal Shrines. 10 kills to 3, 70% and falling. ENDEMIC looks like they're taking a clean 3-0, but they're getting a little bit of extra damage in. And ENDEMIC, Hilly, there were questions, they answered some. It was against No Tomorrow, but this is a really good start if you are an ENDEMIC fan.
I would say a phenomenal start for ENDEMIC, that they not only come in, they show a lot of synergy, they show a lot of prowess in their new roles, and getting a 3-0 victory, not dropping a single game here. Even, you know, you can write things off, you can say, oh, we're still figuring some things out, but I love that they came in with a bang.
The fact that they didn't concede any of that lead in the mid game here definitely shows that, you know, they evolved a little bit, and confidence has got to be there. This is a team that is heavily reliant on confidence. They are so confident. We heard Tomster in the interview talk about they have a good friendship, and I think they feed off of that with each other. And when you have that momentum and you have that friendship and that confidence, I feel like that just enables you to do more, have the confidence to make the play, knowing that somebody's going to be there. And the fact that we saw our first look at Michael Udall, can he support his team? Does he make the right plays? There were no flaws, at least the obvious ones that we saw in that game, outside of maybe that one on Sky Temple where he was a little bit far forward, but he was always there to follow up on what his team was doing. That is a very good sign for this team.
I think another good sign is seeing where Cure was at in that game, which was in deep and feeling good. Like he was having a great time as that Sonya, especially that one game where he was, or that one fight where he was very low, but had the trust and the cleansing flame to be able to keep him alive. I don't know. I think it's been a while since I've seen Cure play that confidently. Obviously, Cure is a world-class player. He has been to many an international event, even in a short time, and being in HGC. So I think it looks good that he is also playing to that caliber.
I said it during the draft, I'm saying it again. The fact that they have the flexibility that they do with this team, I think has got to be one of their biggest positives. The fact that they're willing and capable of running so much, very, very good.
Let's check in with Michael Udall now, who has his jacket set up. Nice job, man. You've got it all. It's just all set up so well.
Yeah, also, we're really happy. We came out with a pretty strong series. Look at these sick jackets. Isn't the logo so cool?
It's pretty awesome. Tell me about how you guys were feeling coming into the series, how you guys have been feeling with so many role changes, roster changes, because to us, you guys looked clean.
Yeah, I mean, so coming into the series, as our first series as a team, right, and just like what you were saying, we had 2 role swaps, 2 new players coming in. So I think there's a lot on the line for us. We've been practicing pretty well, but we wanted it to translate into tournament. So, I mean, there definitely is stuff we need to improve on. I mean, there were a couple of series of miscommunication, right? Towers of Doom, that mid-fight.
Yeah.
Dane got that huge arrow, and, like, I was barely out of position to follow up, and same with Biggie. So, I mean, there's a lot for us to improve on, but as a whole, I feel like it's a pretty good first week.
Yeah,
we have one more series. So, first game, first series.
I feel like we didn't know what to expect with this changeup coming in, and you guys exceeded expectations. How are you feeling on your new role, playing the support? Because it's quite the changeup for you, and I don't think we've ever seen you playing support before.
I love it. Supporting is so much fun and competitive. Like being able to help facilitate, 4 really strong teammates is like a really fulfilling thing, right? Like every single one of the players on my team are very talented. So like being able to help them shine is something I love doing. So, I mean, I've really enjoyed the support role. I feel like there's a lot that I need to improve on, right? I'm pretty new to it, but I feel like the double support meta helped me get my feet wet, right? Because as a flex player before, I did play a lot of that second support. So it's not super new for me, but like I feel like there's still a lot I need to improve on, and that's what I'm looking forward to do the rest of the season.
Well, I have one more question for you before I send you over to Jay-How. We saw some very different drafts, specifically from No Tomorrow, compared to what we expected from the mid-season brawl meta. Do you feel like this is a taste for us of things to come, like the Vala and the Lucio, or do you feel like this is more playing to No Tomorrow and the strengths and the things that they wanted to do?
I feel like that's playing to No Tomorrow. I mean, Akaface has always been a drafter that likes his own flavor, right? Like whether it's he's always been a big advocate of like Vikings, 4-man push comps, and I know he really likes the Lucio, so that's something that they had to have good success with in scrims, otherwise they wouldn't have run it, right? Just because it didn't work in HGC doesn't mean it wasn't working in scrims. So I mean, that's something that team seems to like. I mean, it does look like a formidable comp, but I just think Pure, our drafter, did really, really well of like getting the tools to shut it down. So.
Well, congratulations again to you guys for your 3-0 win. I'll send you over to Jay-How.
Mike,
Thank you.
be honest with me. Game number 1, 10th pick of the draft. It's your hero. Calculated?
I mean, I've always, no matter what role I play, I always have had like a really flexible pool. So I mean, it's something where you don't like Malf is kind of that S tier pick, right? And if it's taken away, like why pick up something really early on if I can play a lot of different heroes? So I don't know. I was happy with it, like, because that's a big confidence thing coming out by our drafter of like we can hold support until last pick because we believe in you to basically be able to play a lot of heroes. So that's something that gives me a lot of confidence that my teammates have that faith in me. I mean, it wasn't calculated, right? Like you kind of just go with the draft, but it's kind of cool that that's how it worked out.
Well, let's talk about some of the team and what your role fits and the team synergy as a whole, because you guys seem really on the same page, especially with your heroic combinations, but even in the basics, it seems like you guys already have a very well built-in synergy. How does that come about so quickly for this team?
A lot of hard work in the off season. I mean, we've been practicing for a really long time. We've been like studying VODs and just really putting in the time. I mean, I think something that also helps, and it's gonna sound weird, but like I like we're all really, really good friends. And I think that's something that, you know, after scrims, we all stay behind and like we'll play different games together. We'll play Overwatch, Fortnite, just random games. And that helps build like team synergy and team comms, which is something like on past teams I've never really done. And I actually think spending times outside of just practicing together and like building friendships. We went to E3, got to hang out with Paul George. It was really cool, right? But like that was a bonding experience for us as a team that I think that helps your synergy in game as well. So I feel like I would attribute like our fast synergy to that, right? Like us really liking each other as individuals and also like respecting each other as players.
Let's go back to your role in particular, because we saw a couple games of Deckard. Seems like somebody that might be a little bit safer, but then you busted out the Alex Strazu, which we know in North America does do well on Infernal Shrines, but it's not normally the first support we see a new support player play. How much have you picked up in such a short time that you feel confident just playing whatever your team needs? Is there anything that's not on the table for you?
Maybe Tehran, I don't know. But like, I mean, as a whole, no. I mean, I feel like our team communicates so well, right? And having a team that communicates so well makes it very easy to learn a new hero, right? Because it's very easy to pinpoint what was the mistake and who made that mistake, right? So if I'm going into scrims and I make a mistake and it's like, there's very clear communication, I know that I made the mistake and I know what I should do moving forward. So that's something that I attribute a lot of my success to my team's communication and our synergy, right? Just like I was mentioning earlier, that really helps you learn and improve, right? If everyone's communicating and everyone's understanding what everyone else is thinking. So I feel like, I've been playing a lot of Hero League. I've been playing a lot of games. You know, GM number 2 on my Smurf coming soon. But yeah, so I think it's the games and the team communication.
Well, things worked out well for you guys today. I know you've got an upcoming series, but congratulations on the good start.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
On the topic of that next match, you're going to be playing against some old teammates in Simplicity. Thoughts on that match?
I mean, I'm really excited. They didn't have that strong of a showing versus Freedom. I feel like they're a better team than that personally from scrims. You know, King Cap and K1. I've always had a lot of respect for them as players, and K1 moving to that damage role I think is going to be a pretty good thing for him. You know, his Jaina is legendary for a reason, right? So I'm really excited, looking forward to that match. I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to do well in it and, you know, hopefully win it, but they're definitely a strong team.
All right. Well, if you have any shout-outs, now's the time.
Oh, shout outs. Okay. I mean, so first I just want to shout out our new organization, ENDEMIC. Thank you so much for picking us up. Paul George is the main co-owner. Yes, the famous NBA player. I hope he goes to the Phoenix Suns. Who knows? But for all you NBA fans, you get it. But I mean, so shout out, a couple of us stream. Actually, four of us, all 5 of us stream. So I stream at Michael Udall. Come learn how to be a GM shot caller. It's a lot of fun. Cure streams at Cure. B-Kids 2 will be B-Kids, where you get all your tanking advice. Dansky on Twitch. And then Big Impact on that as well. So, I mean, just shout out to all our fans. Thank you, everyone, for supporting us. I know we made a lot of role swaps, and we're really, really excited to, you know, bring it this season. BlizzCon, that's the hope and goal. That's what we want. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Mike. Congrats again.
Thank you.
I know you're not an NBA fan, but Paul George is going to Lakers, and the NBA people that he's talking about know that. It's not announced. It's just the thing.
Okay. Cool.
I know.
Cool. So anyway, he seemed really happy, and
Yes.
that just makes me happy.
Again, when I've talked to Mike, I mean, we had a conversation. I mean, we don't like talk every day and, you know, eat dinner and all that stuff, but every time I talk to him, it just seems like he's maturing more and more. He has a lot of fun playing this game, but I think he's having a lot of fun playing with the people that he's with right now.
Yes.
And I feel the confidence is there, but it's when you can play around other people that share that confidence and share your enthusiasm, you get stuff like that. I think that's pretty awesome.
Atmosphere is so important. So I'm very excited to see what ENDEMIC can do this phase. Let's check in with tomorrow's schedule and see what you can expect for your viewing pleasure at home. Don't forget HGC Korea has been going on, but in Europe, Granite Gaming will take on Method. And then after that, Fnatic and Team Liquid. Team Liquid they're hot off their first victory and now going up against Fnatic. I think that's going to be a really exciting one. What do we got in North America, Jay Howe?
Well, I mean, obviously LFM and Octalysis. LFM with Fury manning the helm there on the front line. Definitely a very different feel for that team. But Heroes Hearth and Team Freedom, two of the top teams that we've had in North America. Heroes Hearth coming fresh off of a top 8 performance at Midseason Brawl, will be coming in trying to continue to stay at the top. But Team Freedom, after their showing today, definitely will be looking to stake their claim at the top.
Zugrug promised us that was going to be a good one. So absolutely do not miss that series. A pretty phenomenal lineup of series. For me, I asked you who your most anticipated roster was, and you said ENDEMIC. And now we see what. They looked pretty good, but for me, it's Octalysis. And it's because Octalysis have done something that we've seen in Europe too now with a couple of teams, and that's bringing back people who worked for them before. We see it with Method, we saw it with Fnatic, and now Prismaticism is returning to Octalysis. Justin has a lot to say about that. I'm going to leave that for tomorrow, but I think it's something that is going to be really exciting, and I'm looking forward to see how this team does.
Yeah, I've spoken to them a lot, the Prismat pick in particular. He's also moving back to the range role since Goku's still on Melee, so moving back to a role that he is. This is actually his 3rd stint with the duo of Justin and Buds, going all the way back 2 years now
TNC?
with team name change. Yeah, so it's definitely, they find their way. They found that comfort in the same way that we heard from Michael Udall in terms of that comfort, in terms of the friendship and familiarity. That's what I heard from them as well. And this was a month or so ago whenever the rosters were locked in. And they spoke in generally the same terms, is that it gives them that comfort. And I think for them that works. So there's definitely a lot to look forward to with Octalysis.
Yeah, and Goku was back in that TNC days with Prismaticism as well.
Old school.
But then you put Draded, who was a standout player in Phase 1 on that roster, and I think it's going to be an exciting one to see. But we also get to see our new player to HGC, Droplets, on LFM, who's taken Draded's spot. So it is a day not to miss for the HGC. That's all for us today. We'll see you tomorrow here at the Heroes Global Championship. Good night.